Flight boss, bitch. For sure. You're not listening to the Mind Evan and Terry's Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And not only am I not 100% yet, not quite yet, not flight yet, but I got a motherfucking sty here and shit. Y'all see it's swollen right there because a few days ago when I went to go rub that eye, I made a mistake and did it with the hand that I was just rolling loud with. So I ain't washed my face in enough time. So it developed a little sty there real quick. But it'll go away in a few days. But that's besides anything that we're getting ready to talk about right now, which is what is seeing. You see what I'm saying? Because your ability to see, this is an ability. You need to know that. Same way you close your eyes, you shut that ability off. But you think you shut that ability off. But that ability expands beyond the physical shape and form of what y'all call eyeballs and that y'all externally see out of. Seeing goes way beyond that. So for the most part, you need to know as a spirit, seeing is nothing more, nothing less than if you was a spirit within a body utilizing your legs to go ski, or utilizing your body to go swim, or utilizing your hands and arms to go fish. So fishing, swimming, seeing is all the same concept. It's just y'all are lost in the light, aka the density, dimension, definition, density so much that when you get lost in that much light, you become naive to what's actually going on before it became that solid in the first place. So you end up coming up with other things that other men and women are teaching you when it comes to the higher or lighter frequency vibrations of what's going on in this realm of reality. You see what I'm saying? For an example, you may have manifested a negative situation or a circumstance in your life. Now the characters, aka the people, places, and things that manifest out of that situation that you have manifested end up being the shapes and forms that play out as examples of the state of being that you was in. But instead of you saying you was in that state of being, you was in that space, and instead of you taking responsibility for your own spiritual nature, not human nature or physical nature, instead of you taking your own responsibility, you rather go learn from another man or woman what just actually happened to you. And the only thing that you come to is, the only conclusion you come to is you experienced these type of people. You experienced this type of situation. Not understanding that the root cause of it was you manifested that. So this is what I'm trying to get people to understand. The lighter part of life, the subconscious realm of reality. So let's talk about seeing. Now, your spirit loves to see. So, at the root cause of anything, we know in the third dimension when you're looking at a sea, you're looking at a body of water. So we know a body of water is a body of imagination. It's a realm. It's a world. If you think otherwise, then try to survive without a form of fluid or water in your life for long periods of time. And then come back at me and tell me if that's not what you are in or if that's not what you're made out of. Now, for the most part, when we get into concepts of seeing, right? Now, seeing is the ability for people's spirits to jump into other people's waters or waves of imagination. So your ability to see is actually an external thing, because when you're only seeing things within yourself, this is not an external point of view, but it has been turned into an external perception. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, anytime you're indulging into the form of seeing, skiing, or seeing, you're utilizing your ability to jump into someone else's imagination or jump into someone else's water. So keep that in mind. You jump into a water of someone else's imagination. So keep that in mind. Now, that's the ability to see. Otherwise, you wouldn't be consciously aware of any experience that you are attracting into your life based upon what you resonate with. So, when we talk about seeing is almost like scoping. So you're scoping, you're seeing. So, like I said, what is the root cause of it? Because what word can you use to describe seeing without using the word see now? Because that's what we're going to have to come to. anyway. And it's basically your spirit jumping into someone else's water of imagination. Your spirit jumping into the waters of someone else's imagination. See what I'm saying? So your spirit is always free. Your spirit is always light. Y'all get confused about that a lot of times because y'all get lost into y'all lights, y'all egos, y'all chakras, and things of that nature. Y'all bodies of water. But really your spirit is your space. Swimming, hovering over these waters. So you need to keep that in mind. You see how it really makes sense, but based upon all the stuff that you lost in, the things I can say just in a second can start not making sense. But it's just certain words that I say to make you, that get you back on track, to be like, oh shit, damn, I've been saying that my whole life. How is this not making sense? You see what I'm saying? That's how this world is. It's tricky as fuck. You see what I'm saying? But when we talk about us swimming over these waters, aka these imaginations that we're creating for ourselves, these flames that we could condense, aka go into and cool it off, aka settle in that flow, in that stream, and things of that nature. So when we talk about seeing seeing itself is your seeing, because you're jumping in a sea, and seeing is a what they call that when is an action. So for the most part, a noun or something like that is something we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Seeing is something we're doing. So you need to know this is not something subconsciously that you're doing. This is something that you actually built. So you built these spaceships, these brains, these left brains up here, to actually do that, because you like seeing. So these are tools. Everything is tools for your spirit to use. Keep that in mind. So for the most part now, like you're skiing, your seeing is your ability to jump into the waters of someone else's imagination. So for the most part, this is your ability to see. Your ability to analyze someone else's imagination. So not only are you seeing a world that you are in, see world, you see what I'm saying? You're also seeing other people's perspective. This is why people be like, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? I had no choice but to say that after the fact. Because for you to understand or overstand anything, you have to see. And for you to see, you have to be seeing. You see what I'm saying? So you have to take your spirit and jump into someone else's waters, aka someone else's imagination, in order to understand that world or that realm of reality. Otherwise, you'll be closed off or just be a person who subconsciously just see themselves. And when a person just see themselves, you're only seeing your own lights, your own conscious, your own chakras, your own rivers, your own ideas, your own thoughts, your own feelings and emotions, and you can't see past that. Therefore, you know what I'm saying, you become a person that's lost into themselves. You're lost into your own river. And if that current flow is going off a dam, you wouldn't even be able to see if it's going off a dam, because you think you are that water flow. You know what I'm saying? What you need to understand, that you separate your space from any fluid, fleshly fluid, or any way, shape, or form that you create of your creation. You're the creator, not the creation. Keep that in mind. Now, when we're talking about seeing, right, your ability to see where someone is coming from. You see the direction of their current. You see the direction of their flow. You see the direction of their influence. Otherwise, if you don't see where someone coming from, or you don't want to make yourself a part of someone else's imagination, or make yourself a part of someone's world, or you refuse to let someone influence you in some way, shape, or form, you as a spirit is not jumping into their current stream. Their conscious, their chakra waves, their light bodies that they're creating, their rays, their light rays, their waters, their flows. You're not developing no spaceship, or you jumping in and willing to have any type of understanding, aka swim into that realm. You're not willing to do that. So for the most part, that's what that actually means, when you know you're not absorbing yourself with someone, or submerging yourself into someone else's problems or situation or life. Anytime you making yourself a part of someone else's time, you're making yourself a part of their world, their water, their imagination, their fluid. So for the most part, if you can't see where someone else is coming from, that's just because you're not vibing with them. You're not in that frequency vibration. You're not willing to swim with that current. You're not willing to swim down that line, down that flow. You're going in another direction. So you know what I'm saying? So you end up having a Pisces constellation type of energetic signature that end up happening. So we're all experiencing all these constellations, all these energetic flows. You know, anytime you have one space interacting with another space in a certain specific location, in an angle, whatever like that, all that plays out as circumstances and situations in your life. For an example, in the third dimension, right, you may have like a situation in your life where um you was in a relationship, right, and the relationship started going bad, right? Say something specifically happened in the relationship. Say your partner didn't put your stuff back in the refrigerator or something like that, right? That is an actual, both of y'all are in a position, and y'all rotate it in a certain way, and based upon what area that y'all was traveling through in the astral realm at the time, that's going to be the state of being, and how the actual rotation, how it was relative to each other. It played out and manifested into the third dimension as you just thinking that you're going through a situation where you're getting ready to argue because someone didn't put your stuff back in the refrigerator. But really, it was just an astrological angle. Before we even get to the star constellations, before we even get, it's just space within space. You see what I'm saying? Shit is that deep. If y'all don't really want to think about it like that, but it is. But getting to talking about seeing. Now, that's your ability to see from where someone's coming from. So you can have an understanding also of someone. So that means you understand where that flow is going. And you may not agree with the direction of that body of water or that influence, but at the same time, you understand it because you understand the direction and where that water could lead to. And it's not something that you may, that impact you in a way that you want to go out your way to disagree with. So you see what I'm saying? That's not going with that. So seeing is just actually your spirit jumping into the waters of someone else's imagination. That's the root cause of it. That's the root cause of it. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be developing eyeballs to see anything externally outside of you. Anything that don't have anything to do with you anyway. So you're trying to be a participant into something that you're in anyway, which is a big C. See, it's so many ways we could just break down and decipher how we're in waters metaphorically and physically. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, this is a short video, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just trying to give y'all perspectives so y'all can have clear understanding of what's actually going on. Therefore, once you know what you're doing, your brain is jumping in frequency vibrations that it never been in before. And once it start to get familiar with the RAM is supposed to be familiar with, therefore you start receiving the information that you're supposed to receive. You know what I'm saying? Not no faulty lies and false information from other men and women who's just as lost as you. You see what I'm saying? You'll be able to perceive this actual realm of reality the way it's supposed to be perceived without any filtering or any added on and any blockages and limitations based upon other people lacking of being able to come to this conclusion. You see what I'm saying? So seeing, what is seeing? Seeing is the ability for you to go into the waters of someone else's imagination at the root cause of it. See what I'm saying? Flight bus, bitch, goddamn air. Eehee.